Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to today's Tyche Talk. It's three T's in a row. I am your host, the lovely Lauren Young Durbin. I'm a career design coach, and I help mid-career women figure out what their next career steps are and put them back into the driver's seat. And so most Tuesdays, sometimes it's Wednesday, sometimes it's Thursday, but it's usually on Tuesday afternoons. I have experts come on and help us gain more knowledge on different topics. Last week was finances, investing, and this week we're talking about one of my favorite subjects, self-care. So I'm super excited to have, she's a reoccurring guest. It's her second time here, so she's reoccurring. Cortney Holder, she's here, and I'm so excited to have her back. And today we are, if you hear baby cry, that's my toddler in the other room. Sorry,
I've
just
got
ignore it.
I've got there's people like working on the roof next door, so it's like super loud, and then the dog is barking outside. So we're just zooming today. We're doing all
It
this.
is.
We're
We're just
checking
gonna
off
go
the
with the
bingo.
flow. We know how the new world is, the new workplace.
Yes.
So today we're going to be talking about self-care tips and
Mhm.
how to achieve better work-life balance. And as I said, our guest today is Cortney Holder, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about her again, in case you didn't see her when she was here last year. So she's a dynamic speaker, as you'll see. I probably shouldn't do commentary while I'm doing these intros, but if something resonates with me, I will. So she's a
Yes. Speak on it.
dynamic speaker with a focus on self-care and energy management. She has over 12 years of experience in this field, and she's helped people and organizations navigate the challenges of fostering personal and professional connections in office, remote, and hybrid environments. Her approach to workplace wellness is tailored to the needs of the modern workforce. Let's see, there we go. Taking into account the unique stressors, pressures, and the current business landscape. She's passionate about empowering organizations to create a culture of well-being that supports employees both in and out of the workplace. Her insights are backed by the latest research and best practices, and her engaging, practical approach will leave you with actionable steps to take in your personal wellness journey. Whether you're in the C-suite team, whether you're in the C-suite, a team leader or business owner, Courtney will be able to help you build a resilient and thriving workforce. So welcome back, Courtney. How are
Thank you, Lauren.
you?
I'm great. I'm so excited to be talking to you today. And I loved how you opened it up talking about how you're a career transition coach. For those of you that are new here, Lauren has been helping me as well as I'm navigating a career transition myself. And I love that today's topic is going to be about self-care because whether we're navigating in our career or we're learning our toddlers or we got a new puppy, we're all in
Get
these
bloopers.
yeah, we're all in these stages of transition in our lives, and how can we help ourselves as we navigate these transitions? Because transitions can be frustrating, they can be
Yes.
overwhelming, right? And you have to give yourself grace to that and say, like, I'm a beginner in this. I don't know, I don't know it all
Yep.
yet, right? I hope you never know it all. It's continuous learning about yourself and what you need as you get through these different stages of your life. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today is, and I think work-life balance is something that you should always be revisiting, right? Because even
Mhm.
when you have a coaching business and you're doing consulting, or maybe you're doing more things beyond that, momming and all of these things, you need to readjust, right? We're never
Yeah.
going to be 100% in all of the areas of our wheel of life, but where can we balance it so that we can feel our best and also recognize when we're not feeling our best to identify what do we need.
Yes. And that's so true because I think sometimes people think work like, oh, I guess I can't really, I'm not that that flexible, but most people think if you're thinking of this as a seesaw, most people think work balance is like this. And really it's kind of, for me, it's really where do you want to fill that cup? Which cup are you going to fill more right now?
Right.
Because it's impossible. I shouldn't say impossible. It's very, very difficult for most people to do or to feel as if they're doing equally well in their personal lives and their professional lives. I think most people feel like they're dropping the ball in some way.
Yep,
Um,
that's
so-
spot on.
yeah, so it's really about deciding what your balance is, and your balance isn't going to be the same as someone else's balance, and it's probably not going to be wrong.
Right.
Um, so let's take a step back. How
Yeah.
would you personally define work-life balance?
So what I've realized in talking to hundreds of people over the years, one of the things that can make a significant improvement in your professional life is finding a career that you enjoy.
Yep.
Because if you are in a career or you're in a job where you hate it, you're miserable, maybe you don't like your boss, you don't like your coworkers, you don't like the work that you're doing, you're miserable, or let's say you hate people and you're a cashier and you have to deal with people all day. Is that a good fit for you?
No.
If you're not good with people or you don't like people, don't do jobs that involve people, right? Like if they make you miserable. So like don't do that. Like 0 stars, do not recommend. So that's the first thing is finding a job or career that doesn't make you feel miserable. And on top of that, even when you do have that job or career that you love, it can be easy for you to get so obsessed with it that it's the only thing you're like sleeping, eating, living, and breathing it. And that can also
Right.
be common in entrepreneurship, where if you are a one-man band, you are living, sleeping, eating, breathing, all of it, all of the time, right? And so you never really
Yes.
get to turn it off. There's no real signing off. So you have to balance that. So when I'm talking about finding a career or job that doesn't make you miserable, in addition to finding things outside of your professional life that you enjoy doing. So what are your hobbies?
Mhm.
Right? Usually when I ask people, what do you do for fun? They look at me like I have three heads. They say,
Yeah.
I don't have time for fun. I,
Do you
I
have
don't know what
hobbies?
fun is, right? Fun has to be created. It's not
Yes.
just going to show up. The fun package doesn't just show up weekly and tell you what to do. You've got to take that and do it for yourself. So ask yourself, what are the things that make me happy? Do I like going to the local park? Is it getting a coffee and having a moment in your car by yourself with nobody coming at you, right? That's my time. I love a coffee in the car. That is a whole moment for me. I don't know about anybody else, but that is how I connect with self. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, and just remembering and honoring my feelings. So, like, one of the things I pay attention to is when I'm having positive or negative self talk.
Right.
Negative self talk is harmful and unnecessary. So
Right.
being able to catch yourself if you are being negative about whatever it is, because positivity doesn't come from negativity ever, right? So just being able to catch yourself. And if you find yourself in a negative mindset and you're thinking, well, this is never going to work out, and I just don't see how things could get any better. Like that's such a closed way of thinking instead of what other ways can I explore? Right? What
Right.
else could it be? Am I taking things too personal? Right? I'm talking to people a lot about that right now. Am I taking things too personal? Taking things personal is not helpful. If people are treating you a certain way that you feel is not kind, it's likely because they don't feel good about themselves. It has nothing to
Right.
do with you, right? How people treat you, that is usually a personal issue. They,
Yes. It's them, not you necessarily.
right, exactly. So when I'm talking about negative mindset, I was just having a conversation with a girlfriend last night, and she was saying she had kind of like a junky weekend of food eating, pizza, all the stuff that makes you feel gross but tastes really awesome.
It doesn't make me feel gross. I'm not going to sit here and lie on Tyche Talk.
Yeah, for
That sounds
her,
like a great weekend to me.
yeah, right. For her, it is a disruption. I'll just say it causes disruption in her life. Okay. And she started to go down to this negative track of, do I need to calorie restrict and starve myself? Those feelings, we tell negative feelings, we tell them to go sit in the back seat. Like, take a back seat, you are not real. You need to go take a time out, right? And
Mhm.
so just catching your internal dialogue and knowing that if you're saying negative and bad things, like, first of all, why are you being so mean to yourself?
Yeah,
Let's start there. Because the world is hard enough. You don't need to be hard to yourself. Like, your internal monologue is more important than everything else. Because when you're fortified in yourself, you're impenetrable.
yeah. I always tell people, speak to yourself as if you're speaking to your best friend.
Yes,
Because really, you should be your best friend, work
ab
towards that. And
absolutely.
when you hear something and you think about something negative, whether it's about yourself or someone else, the first thing you should ask yourself is that true? And then the next question I usually ask myself is, well, what can I do about it? Like,
Here's
you
another
know,
one. Why do I care about it?
yes,
Because why
does
do
it
we get
matter?
bothered about things that have not we don't care about? Why does this matter?
Yeah,
Being unbothered, I guess, is where I'm going with that, is that can cause you to spend a little too much energy when you get too wrapped up in the
exactly. Does it matter? It probably does not. Doesn't matter to me. And it's not, I mean, it's being self-centered isn't necessarily being selfish. So sometimes you can get all worked up in someone else's business and they've moved on and you're still mad. And they're like, what are you talking about? Oh, yeah, whatever. We made up or whatever it was. And you're still mad. And you're like, well, why didn't you tell me? You guys like worked it out. I'm over here mad. I said, well, why were you over there mad in the first place?
why. Right.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Um, so what are some of the biggest misconceptions that people have about healthcare or not healthcare, self-care?
Self-care. Self-care
Yes.
is rooted in health.
Yes.
And I would say that people make excuses about self-care the same way they make excuses about healthcare. So yes, I would say that's spot on. People are too busy to go to the doctor, right? You're too busy to get that mammogram. You're too busy to get that screening. Sometimes we're scared,
Yes.
right? Sometimes we're scared. As far as self-care misconceptions, I would say probably all the usual suspects. It takes too much time. I'm not deserving. It's too expensive. You know, I have so many other things I have to do. I have to take care of everybody else. And I always say you do have to put yourself first,
Mhm.
because you're the star player. And if your star player is not okay, that's going to impact everyone around you.
Just ask the Jets. Aaron Rodgers went down, so did their season. For all you, I don't know how many people follow football, but there you go.
But yeah, it's, same concept. You have to create the time for yourself, right? So
Yes.
there, you can say, I don't have any time to go to the gym, right? Or I make the time to go to the gym, right?
Mm.
You make the time. We all have the same 24 hours. We don't have the same things on our schedule, right? So when I talked earlier about the balance, right now my balance is I'm not doing my full 75-minute workouts that I was doing. My workout is 30 minutes when I'm on a call with my manager maybe, and I'm taking a loop.
Mhm.
That may be that I'm getting outside, I'm getting sun, I'm walking, I'm not sitting on the couch, I'm doing something. So my 30 minutes is something for right now, right? It may be more in the future, but I'm not going to be mad about what I'm doing right now because I am doing something. And for me, my big thing is walking. It's low energy, it's I'm sorry, low impact. And you can do it so long as the weather and your circumstances permit. Get your heart pumping, regulate your nervous system,
Yeah.
brings the calm. You get to hear the birds chirping. It's calming to the nervous system for you to hear the sounds of nature. So it does benefit you to go outside. I hope everyone on the line is in safe accommodation and you're able to do that, because that is also a luxury, being able to walk and have space to do these things or use a walking pad or treadmill. So yeah, I would say figuring out where you can create pockets of time for yourself. Another thing that I'm doing right now is, I take a bath. If I can take a bath, 30 minutes a couple times a week, that grounds me.
Mm-hmm.
That is free 99. You obviously have to pay for the water and the soap, everything
Yeah,
to
I
be
think
up
so
to that,
anyway. So
right? You don't always have to go do an expensive spa day. I'd love to go do, a week at the Salamander. Come with me, Lauren. Let's go
I,
luxuriate.
I'm there. I
Right?
love the
I would
salamander.
love that. But if I can only do aromatherapy in the shower or bathtub and, get some nice body oil in the meantime, that's what I'm gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So just figuring out how you can do these things because you are worth these little moments. I call them moments, like coffee in the car, or maybe it's, sometimes, I don't know if you do this, get up early and just have your time by yourself in the morning to read, pray, journal, work out, drink coffee, stare at the ceiling, prepare mentally for the day, fortify yourself. Those are little moments of wellness that you can create for yourself, right? It's
Yeah.
not, and I think the other misconception is people think self-care has to be like drinking wine and boozing really hard when that doesn't, it may be fun in the moment, but it doesn't feel great after. So just also being mindful that those things you're doing for self-care is nourishing to your body and your spirit and your energy and your mind, and it's not tearing it down
Yeah,
because
I always
a lot of things that can
tell
happen that
people,
could feel.
it's like you said, like people say, I don't have the time and you have to make I'm like, no, like you said, we have the same 24 hours. So
Mhm.
it's like when people say, I tell people something similar when they say I can't afford it. I don't have the time. I said, instead of saying that, phrase it if it's not a priority. Like,
Right,
it's not a priority right now for me
right,
to take time for myself. And when you hear yourself say that,
right,
hopefully it's like, wait, what? That doesn't sound right.
right.
Or like you do the early morning thing. I can't do that because I'm not an early morning person.
Yeah.
But and also when as soon as I get up, I have two little ones to keep me busy. So my time is at the end of the night.
Hmm.
Um, so that's so I decompress from the day and have to like let go of the day so I can go into the next day as free and light as possible.
Right.
That's also free 99. But yeah.
Yes, it is. It really is.
Totally fun now.
Yeah, my
Like,
husband's the night owl, so he does the night duty and I do the morning shift. He would be, yeah, not up with me as, so like you said, finding whatever that time is, right?
yeah,
Whatever that looks like is it. And that's the other thing, Lauren, is you have to figure out what works for you
exactly.
because your journey is your own, right? I can share what I do, but that may not work for you.
Yeah,
Right? So
just
that's
keep trying
pointless.
different things.
You have to figure it out what works for you and what's realistic, what you can stick with.
Yeah. And one of the things when people they're like, I don't know, I don't really do anything for fun. It's like, well, what do you used to do for fun? Like for me, I used to read all the time and I lost that it was a much lower or non-priority for a really long time. And once I made myself go back, it was just like I just have to read a page. Or if I'm reading on my phone
Right.
or Kindle, I just have to read
Right.
like one swipe. And now I make sure to read every day because that's my me time. And I
Right.
tell my husband, like, don't talk to me. I'm in my me time.
Right. And that's the thing, right? Is sometimes we put pressure on ourselves. And I would say reading is a lot like journaling, where it's something that it helps you escape and maybe kind of let your mind wander, right?
Yeah,
But we can be frustrated if we don't do it every day, right? Oh, I didn't get a chance to read today. What are you dummy? You didn't make time to read. And it's like, okay, maybe it's once a week until you get up to whatever the cadence is, right? Maybe it's a
yeah,
Sunday afternoon curled up with a cup of tea and, an ambiance video on. Maybe that's what you do. But not being hard on yourself that it has to be so rigid
yeah,
because
yeah.
life needs to be flexible.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And I think we worry so much about it, especially, I mean, I know I'm a type A, and whether we like to admit it or not, we like to have things under control.
Mm-hmm.
We're planners. We want to know like what's next, da 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 da. And it's like, well,
Yes.
just like you can plan everything else, you can like maybe you can't spend half an hour in the bath. All right, spend an extra 2 minutes in the shower. You know, like find something. You have to do something. And ideally you do something every day. And it doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be expensive, but it has to be something that's for you. And even if you're like, oh, sometimes you might feel guilty in the beginning because you're like, oh, I'm not doing whatever it is I used to do for someone else. But if you can't take care, if you're not taking care of yourself,
Right.
you can't take care of anybody else.
Right. And let's also remember a lot of us were raised, bless our parents. I'm sure they had great intentions, but what are you sitting around for? You need to keep yourself busy. You have to, do an activity. Like you don't, what do they say? Rest is, it's necessary. It's a requirement. It's not something you have to earn or you have to put into the rest bank. Like, oh, I haven't worked enough, so I can't rest yet and go to the rest bank. Like
Yes.
that's not how it works. It's active, always going, always going.
Yes. Yes. Most definitely. And I was just thinking of moving on to another topic. I was like, um, one of the things that we both talked about are just small everyday things, and you've mentioned going for a walk or journaling, meditation. And for me, it's reading. Do you have any other tips or ideas for people who are watching?
Paying attention to your energy,
Mm.
right? If you can start to heart garner an awareness to your energy, right? Do I notice after, like, example, I noticed I can't if I have presentations or if I'm going to, I can't do coffee that morning because it just kind of sent, because I already have the pump going, so I'm excited, right? And then the coffee just kind of makes me hit the gas a little bit. And then my nervous system is doing 140 miles an hour down the highway, and then we're not in a good place, right? Um, it's things like knowing for women, our hormone cycle is 28 days. For men, it's every 24 hours. So noticing where in the month is your energy higher or lower than others, right? Do you
Mm.
need to shift meetings at some points in your time of the month if you know you're going to be not feeling your best and you can't, you know how you're going to feel? Because there's nothing worse than feeling that way and then having to do a whole bunch of stuff on top of it. So just baking in time to create rest for yourself. I think it's a really helpful practice. So that comes down to really scheduling, right? And so when I talk about calling in the awareness to your body is like, okay, now I have this awareness of maybe I should be more mindful of my energy, right? Do I get irritable if I'm hangry? So do I need to pack a
Yes.
snack with me? And what type of snack is going to make me feel alert and satiated until I can get to the next meal,
Yeah.
right? Um, have you been staying up too late? That's a big one. Sleep is a big one because sleep is basically how you go to the dentist to get a dental cleaning. Sleep is how our brain gets clean. And
Yeah.
we need that to reset. The challenge is America has a sleep deprivation crisis. We have a lot of people who are not getting the adequate level of sleep. And by the way, the guidelines on 6 to 8 hours of sleep a night, Lauren, who do you think that's based on?
Men.
Men. Women, we actually need 9 to 10 hours of
Oh,
sleep,
I learned all kinds of things today.
right? So once we know, wow, how can I sleep the same amount of hours as my husband? And I'm so tired. Why is that? Because I didn't get enough rest. That might be enough for him. It's not enough for me, right? So just knowing what does your body need, right? So sleep is a big one because that can impact your mood. And I know I'm saying sleep to a mom of, a few. So I know people kind of look at me crazy, like, yeah, she's a lady without any kids and she doesn't know anything about not getting sleep, right?
Yeah. But still,
The
it's still
reality,
important.
it is
Whether,
still very important, right? And
yeah.
that's what I really worry about. A lot of my clients that are are working moms that do have sleep deprivation over a long period of time can throw your entire system into chaos, right?
Yeah.
It impacts your memory function. So just like how you get along at work every day, coupled with, oh yeah, we had a pandemic, COVID, brain fog, all of the things, sprinkling some perimenopause for the ladies or menopause, right? And now you've got a wild party in Wonderland.
Yes. Not a fun one either.
Right. It's exactly. And it's not a fun one. So
Yeah.
just checking in with yourself, I have found to be really helpful. The other thing is I really love ambiance videos. I recommend ambiance videos to people on like watching. Do you ever watch ambiance videos?
I have no idea what that is. I mean,
Okay.
I can figure out from the words.
Okay, so you can search like nature ambiance on YouTube and it will
Okay.
bring up peaceful videos where it'll be scenic imagery and soft music. So it's just like a library nook or a jazz cafe. So it's like soft jazz and there's like a fireplace. It's all sometimes they look a little realer than others. It just depends, but there's lots of nature ambiance, there's calming ambiance, there is frequency if you're into hertz frequency
Yeah,
levels.
there's like pink sounds and brown sounds. Is that
Yep,
yeah,
there's brown noise, there's
brown? No, that's what noise.
yeah, there's all types of nervous system regulation you can do through those frequencies, right? So frequency ambiance is another one that you can search. But I love those too. Like when I'm reading on the weekend, I love curling up, or if I'm working on the computer, I love having that ambiance video on. It's just something really calming about it. So ambiance videos on YouTube. But
So
they
it's
have,
just in the background, or do
yep,
you
it's
like?
just a video. It's just a video that's playing on loop. So you should definitely take a look at
I
ambiance.
am. After this, I'm gonna
Yeah,
pull it up. It's like the
yeah,
Yule
take a
log
look at,
thing.
yep. So you can search nature calming ambiance. You can search, there's so many. There's rocket ship ambiance. It's like you're sleeping in a rocket ship, right? There's a ton of ambiance. You look up bossa nova and it's like some beach scene with like bossa nova music playing. Nightclub ambiance, if that's what you're looking for, you could put that on. Like there's,
You can put
it's such
anything
a
on
wide
YouTube.
range. Yeah. I would say also reducing screen time has been helpful for me. I
Hmm.
noticed in the evening, if I'm scrolling, I'm doing the, what do they call it? The death scroll. You just keep going and going and going. I've
Doom
noticed,
scrolling.
yeah, I've doom scrolling. I said death. No, doom scrolling. I've noticed that it kind of depending because it's so random of what you'll see in the next video that it's like kind of makes you a little bit jumpy, right? That dopamine hit, I guess is what I'm saying. So I don't like
Yeah.
doing that after a certain time. And then also just when I'm decompressing with my husband at the end of the day, I try to be mindful of cell phone use and tuck it away. And if we go out to dinner, just tuck it away. I used to be very into capturing all the things, and now I'm much more, let's be present and really be present.
Right.
So I found that to be really helpful. And also accepting help
And asking for it.
and asking for it, right? So for those of you that are
Yes.
watching this, I reached out to Lauren probably about 2 weeks ago and I said, hey, I'm navigating this transition and I need your help. Can you take a look at this with me? Can you talk me through? Can we get some coaching to so I can understand this? That was big for me to do. I don't think I would have done that 5 years ago, but this version of me is like, I have a resource, a fantastic resource who is way more skilled at this than I am. So why don't I lean into the help that I have? And you were willing to help me. So accepting the help. A
Yeah.
lot of times help can come in different forms to us, but because we have those control issues or we have a you should do it yourself
Yep.
attitude,
I don't want to look weak. It's
I don't want to look
any
weak,
number of
right?
things.
All of those things, which it just means that you're strong because you
Yeah.
know what's going to make you stronger is getting the help. So
Hmm.
being really leaning into that. So just to recap on some of the resources we talked about today, Lauren, eat food and be mindful of your intake of things and how it makes your body feel.
Hmm.
Example, I love Chick-fil-A, Lauren, but I haven't been able to eat it in like 4 years because it makes me feel ill.
Wow.
It makes me physically ill. So love it. I know I can't eat it. So even if that was the only option available, I would probably just get a drink because that's going to upset my, right? I already know that's
Yeah.
not good. So just remembering how food makes you feel or how certain beverages make you feel so that you can connect that the next time maybe you want to feel stronger in making a better decision. Sleeping, try to do what we can there, which is
Yes.
a lot of us policing ourselves the way we police children, right? And we tell children you have to go to bed and we tell kids they have to do all of these things, but then we go and stay up all night.
Mhm. Yep. It's
Right?
your sleep. Go
Yeah.
to sleep.
Yeah,
Be the
treating
best to yourself.
yourself like a toddler is really what I'm saying, Lauren, is you have to
Yes.
be toddler like in, would this be satisfactory for a toddler? Probably not. So let me go ahead and remember that. Meditating. So meditating looks like whatever that is for you to connect your heart and your spirit to something greater than you. Is it outside? Is it yoga? Is it prayer? Is it journaling? What are those things? And the
Deep
last,
breath sometimes.
right. Yep, exactly. And then the other thing is just connecting. So with yourself, with your family and friends. I've been filling my friend tank a lot lately. So I know friendships require active trying multiple times,
Yes.
especially as adults navigating different transitions and stages in our lives, kids, no kids, dogs, caregiving parents, all of these things that we have in our ecosystem. How can we still find time with our friends? Because friendships matter, right? And we do have the America's loneliness crisis. But so
Yeah.
many people just don't get a chance to connect with their friends because, again, they think we have to go out to some fancy dinner. No, you don't. You can. I was just at my girlfriend's house last night. We had a veggie board and some hummus in her living room and just downtime, girl chat, catch up. It does not have to be fancy. Like, we have to get out of this mindset that we have to be spending money. You take yourself to the grocery store, go get you something, and go to your friend's house.
Yeah.
We got
Go
food at
for a
the
walk. It's getting nice out.
Yes, go for a walk, right? There's so many other things we can be doing besides sitting down, you know, spending a whole bunch of money.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us again. I hope you'll come back and give us some more tips. Well, who knows what we're going to talk about next time?
I
You
know.
never know.
Thank you for
But
having
I
me on.
wanted to
Thank you for having me on. This was great.
thanks. And next week's Tyche Talk will be the second, 3 o'clock, same bat time, same bat channel. And we'll be talking about something I know all too well about mom guilt and working with Christina Francie. So see you next week. If you know somebody who will benefit from that particular topic or this topic, get them hip on this. And if you have any questions or you have any topics you would like for me to feature on Tyche Talk, send me a DM and I'll talk to you guys next week.
Thank you, Lauren.
Bye.